Hey guys, Curtis Alexander. In this video, let's talk about that white coating that you may have on your tongue. I'll go over why that's happening, what's going on, and we'll talk about some practical things that you can do to actually address it. Okay. So there's usually two main causes. If you have this coating on your tongue, cause number one is usually you have a gut motility issue. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Basically, if you're not having at least 1 to 3 good bowel movements a day, healthy bowel movements, not diarrhea, then that's a sign that you don't have good gut motility. Okay. The other one that could be going on and is a cause is gut dysbiosis. Okay. Sort of a fancy way of saying that you have microbes in your gut all the way through. And again, you need to understand this from your mouth is the start of your digestive tract. The end of it, as weird as this is your anus. Okay. It's all one long tract. Essentially, when you have motility issues or you have gut dysbiosis issues, we can start to see some of these microbes that we don't want, bacteria, fungus, working their way up. And it can show up in the back of the tongue as kind of this white film. So, usually, generally speaking, it's one of these two causes. So, if you can address that, you should see an improvement in this and you're going to begin to feel better. So, let's talk about some things you can do. I'm going to move through these relatively quickly. One thing to point out, a lot of the things that I'm going to recommend here are natural and they will kill two birds with one stone. They're going to hit both of these. Okay. So, first one, I would begin to think about insoluble fiber, not anything supplemental, but like a raw carrot. Okay. Some people have good luck with bamboo shoots. Some people, things like mushrooms, but I find carrots to be the best. Number one, the insoluble fiber is going to help things like motility. I would caution if you have something like irritable bowel disease, you want to be careful with insoluble fibers. For some people, that's going to make the issue worse. So do be careful there. The other thing it will address is that gut dysbiosis because things like carrots, that insoluble fiber can naturally move out things like endotoxin. Endotoxin happens normally, but as our gut health deteriorates, we can see higher and higher amounts of these endotoxins. Then we can get things like leaky gut, those sorts of things. The other thing it can potentially help with is your liver detoxifying and getting rid of estrogen. So it has a lot of benefits, but particularly for the dysbiosis and the gut motility. As far as motility, coffee is a good one that people have luck with. So, if you're not a coffee drinker or you feel guilty about drinking coffee, don't. It can be helpful in this regard. I always recommend people have ice cold water, then drink your coffee. That will usually help motility. Metabolism. If you're somebody who has, say, thyroid issues, you have a slow metabolism. That's why we see so much constipation in people with low thyroid. You're also going to see gut dysbiosis pop up with that as well. What about laxatives? There are ones like cascara that can be helpful. I would not use those as a first line agent. Laxatives are kind of a mixed bag, but they can be helpful. We really want to focus on diet and lifestyle issues, as boring as that is to say. That's what led to this problem in the first place. So we have to correct those. Another one can be supplementing with something like magnesium. You don't have to take large amounts to get that laxative effect. I'm not saying that, but if it's something you take every day, it will eventually help in that regard. And it's going to help in a lot of other regards. Most people don't get enough magnesium. It's one of the few supplements I personally take. Walking can help motility. Um, and you don't have to go crazy here. Another thing, and this is not talked about a lot, is intestinal massage. Basically, lie on your back. You can put some oil on your stomach and use your hands, kind of your fingers pressed down into your abdomen and work in a circular motion. And that can help get the bowels moving and improve the motility. The one thing that you want to be aware of, and this is going to come into play in gut dysbiosis as well, is as motility goes down, as you experience less and less motility, most people see a rise in serotonin. Okay, and that is not what we want to have happen. some things that you can do to address this are, you know, vitamin A, natural vitamin A in the form of retinol, vitamin K2. I made a video recently on how important vitamin K2 is. I also have the link to the personal K2 that I supplement with. Diet are going to be critical for this. And if I didn't mention it, sun exposure. You can use red light during the winter months. I do that, put a red light about 6 to 12 inches away from your belly, and that can help. Otherwise, get sun exposure. And again, guys, all the stuff I'm mentioning, I try to include links to the stuff I personally use in the description, so you can check those out. Now, let's talk a bit more about how to get your microbes, your gut dysbiosis fixed. Number one, and this is more of a warning, I would not turn to probiotics to start with. I see people causing more problems than they do addressing the issues. I find probiotics are very misunderstood. So that's not the first step I would go. Again, I talked about the raw carrot benefiting that by helping you get rid and lower endotoxin. Coconut oil. Coconut oil does a lot of things that I like. It's going to help increase your metabolism. It serves almost as an antiseptic effect in the gut, like a natural antibiotic, antiviral, those sorts of things. It can be beneficial in that regard. You can also use it as a mouth rinse, like oil pulling, you know, get some coconut oil, let it melt, swish it around for 10 minutes. It can help some of the bacteria that are in the mouth as well. So that's a really good one to try. People ask me about antibiotics. What should they do? Should they do it? Do I recommend it? I think it's fine in extreme cases because it will wipe out the bad bacteria and a lot of the good bacteria. And that's the problem is if your diet and lifestyle aren't on point, it will help temporarily, but I eventually find those people go back to square one unless they're addressing some of the other things we've talked about. So yeah, it can be helpful. Another one to think about is pregnenolone, supplementing with that. This is one, a couple of caveats here. Number one, you have to get good quality pregnenolone. Again, link is in the description. I am very careful about recommending some of the bigger online stores where you can get supplements. There's a lot of bad, um, these companies are selling fraudulent supplements basically. So be very careful about where you're getting your pregnenolone. Okay. But the other thing about pregnenolone, it's your master hormone, meaning it can be turned into anything, testosterone, cortisol, your water retention hormones, on and on we go. So if you're a very stressed out person and you supplement with pregnenolone, you could see more stress hormones produced. But you can also see something like allopregnenolone produced, which is great because if you have that serotonin issue we were talking about earlier, this can help decrease that. So hopefully you can start to see that there's an interplay here of all these things. Now, a couple of other factors that you want to think about. Extreme diets, I've talked about that. It's not something you want to see happening. So avoid low calorie diets, avoid daily fasting. Also, if you're on a low salt diet, that can present problems from a gut health standpoint. Obviously, I'm not saying to stop that, but I have made other videos about it, not some sort of cure all for blood pressure. Okay. There's some issues that can arise from doing that. And some other things that you can see happen with these is again, we're going to see a potential increase in serotonin. Okay. So I realize there's a lot of factors here, but if you have that coating on your tongue, your gut is definitely trying to tell you something. It's a motility or a gut dysbiosis issue. There's other things you can do. I talk about some of those in my free checklist. People have had good luck with those. Non-drug, non-surgical, they're natural. You really can begin to feel and look better no matter your age. So I'd encourage you to go grab that free checklist. Link is in the description. Let me know in the comments, guys. I realize there's a lot covered here. If I need to answer other questions in the form of other videos, let me know in the comments. Being on my email list is a great way to communicate with me as well and let me know videos that I can make that are going to be helpful for you. So let me know uh, in the next one.